You know how everyone tells you it's so hard to create a Kafka cluster and it takes so long to do it? Well, I think that's going to change in the age of AI and in the age of new cloud providers. I stumbled upon a really cool new cloud service called exe.dev. This is not a sponsored video by them at all. And I just want to see how fast it is. I want to time myself how fast it is to create a Kafka cluster from scratch, from zero. I have no account, nothing. I just have an email address here and an OpenAI account, but not that matters. And we're going to see how long it takes to create a Kafka cluster. So this new cloud service is called exe.dev, and it's really dev-friendly. And literally, the website is just this. It has you log into SSH. Now, there's more copywriting here and etc. about what they are, but we're just going to take it for a spin and really see how long it takes. So I'm going to start a timer. So let's see how long it takes. I'm doing this for the first time. I really have no idea. But before I start, I want to ask you, how long do you think it's going to take me to have a fully running Kafka cluster, let's say one node, with an HTTP proxy, and maybe running like some producer on it? Like, think about it. Maybe add a comment below how long you think it will take me, and let's get started. So we have SSH. We SSH into it to a terminal. And the first thing it does is it wants an email address. So this is a really cool sort of novel sign-up flow where you add the email address to the SSH. It already sent an email to my Proton mail. So now we're going to just refresh here. And there we go. Welcome to exe.dev. And really cool email again, just has a link, nothing more. So I click the link. Confirms, asks me to create a passkey, which is really cool. So I'll create it. And then I guess we have a passkey now. And I guess we're logged in. So it tells me to return to a terminal. I am, and here I am. So this is it. This is the control plane, which is really cool. So I have no VMs. I'm going to create a new VM. So let's go. New. Okay, so it creates something called Doc Pelican, whatever that is. So I can now SSH into it. But I also want to use their UI. Because I'm kind of used to using that one. So you have the SSH, the box we have here. Just create a new VM. There's a trial period for 7 days. That's why I don't have to put a credit card or anything in. The coolest thing these guys have is this AI, which is basically a wrapper on top of Claude or other AI agents. And this is an agent running on my box. And literally, using Opus 4.7, I'm going to tell it this. All right, I want a fully running Apache Kafka cluster, latest version, running a HTTP REST proxy in front, perhaps the Confluent proxy, publicly accessible from anywhere. Also think of a UI, of a open source UI for Kafka that I can also access publicly from anywhere. I expose it. I am always a little bit more verbose when I talk to my AI agents, but that's just a meeting, I guess. And set up Grafana, also publicly accessible, so I can monitor the metrics in real time. I could have probably just given it a voice message, but whatever. So we're gonna send this, and I'm just gonna close this for now. So this is literally, this should have it running, honestly. We'll see how long it takes. We'll be tracking more or less. It's been 2 minutes now since I first registered. But I can give you a tour of the UI while we're at it. I really love their UI. It's, basically, this is the home. You can have many VMs here. They have some sort of pricing model for it. And here they have, it's still a new service. I think this launched in December from what I saw on a Hacker News announcement. And they have some integrations here, which I'm not really sure, but I was surprised to see ClickHouse here. So I guess you can integrate with ClickHouse natively as well, which really surprised me. Because there's GitHub integration, so perhaps it can pull from my repo. The AI thing is working here. What else can we do? Read their copy, see their pricing. Pricing is like $20 a month. Actually, no, let's talk a little bit. While this is working, I'll just talk a little bit. So I have this rant I want to go on eventually, which is that everybody says how hard it is to manage Kafka, and like every vendor tries to sell you this idea that it's really hard to manage. You should just buy their managed service because it's so difficult. And while it can certainly be complex, I don't think it's difficult. I think inherently the complexity of Kafka comes from the massive permutation of configs that you can choose. I think Kafka has like something like 700 configs total. So how you configure all of those really matters as to how your Kafka cluster works and how safe it is and how reliable it is and yada yada. And of course there's a lot of so-called best practices that are out there on the web. Where are they? Well, where are they? Well, everywhere on the web. You can open like 1,000 web pages and get it. But if you're asking a brand new guy to find the best practices, that's gonna be a little difficult. Maybe they can look for some book or try to buy some course or whatever. I'm not even sure. I should probably sell something like that. Let me know if you're interested. But basically, the complexity comes from figuring out what all the configs mean, what all the different types of deployments are, and what's the best for your use case. And something like a managed service, because they have so much experience and so much expertise in-house, they kind of know that and they choose that for you. So basically, the mental overhead, the reduction of mental overhead, the fact that you can just click a button and you have your new service and you know it works well enough, I think that's a big selling point for these managed services. Because look at this. I mean, this is setting up 1,000 things now. It has to set up like YAML files for proxying the HTTP, for setting up Grafana, for whatever using GMX, for figuring out which version of the REST proxy. Like there's a whole compose file. Like it would take me a while to write all of this by hand and debug it. So until it works, it would probably take me 2-3 hours, honestly, end to end. And I have some experience with these things too. But now in the age of AI, as you can see, it's literally one prompt to Claude, and it's setting all these things up. Now, it's a separate question. How much can I trust the AI? Is it going to fuck something up? Is it going to introduce a security hole? Like, can this really be productionized at an enterprise? Of course, valid questions. And of course, it's still kind of early to the whole thing. But I think this should not be underappreciated. The fact that I'm going to be able to here with a single prompt to really just one-shot a Kafka cluster accessible from HTTP in what might be under 10 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes. With a Grafana and everything, in just one agent, I could have parallelized this to be faster even. It's really game-changing. I think the game is changing. I think the game is going to change to self-hosting services, not just Kafka, but all sorts of distributed services and all sorts of open source software. People should not be scared to self-host their own stuff. It's not that difficult. Once you add proper metrics, proper monitoring, proper observability, and perhaps spend a little bit of time on learning the basics of the software, or just figuring out an AI agent that can help you and debug with you and tell you what to do and tell you what might be broken, I think I think there's going to be a real up-leveling of SREs, of inexperienced SREs, working with projects they're just not used to. Of course, any Kafka SRE can do more than a good job of managing a Kafka, but so if someone is starting for the first time in their life, it's going to be a little difficult. But now with AI, I think it's going to be very easy. As long as you're a decent SRE and you have an idea of what a reliable service is, and you know that, hey, I probably want to use 3 AZs to be, to have HA and to have high durability, and etc. If you know like basics like that, I think you can handle more or less any sufficiently mature service in production without being an expert at it. Now, it has to be sufficiently mature because that doesn't mean you can run your latest Rust database without any issues. The AI has to be trained on something. There has to exist a corpus of knowledge of how to run a certain system. But yeah, I'm really bullish on this. So let's see what is this thing doing. It's running Docker Compose now. I guess I'm running on a small VM and splitting images, so maybe that's the thing that's taking up time right now. The free plan, from what I understand, has just two vCPUs. What is there? I lost their thing. It has just 2 vCPUs and 8 gigabytes of memory for the VM, which actually gets shared across many VMs, but whatever. So this might be a little low for a JVM heavy Kafka. I mean, it can fit. I could have just run Red Panda here. It would have probably been faster to run, but whatever. Anyway, I think it built everything, so we're just waiting on Docker for now. But yeah, this service, this exe thing is really cool. How I understand them is it's really great for sort of small throwaway projects. Well, it doesn't have to be throwaway, but it's great for throwaway projects where you just vibe code something up and maybe you want to host it for a few days to share with your friends. I tried that. I hosted an HTTP app and shared it with my friends. It's really easy to share as well. They had some command here, which, to be honest, I completely forgot. So we can explore their control plane here together. As you can see, it has a ton of stuff. But it has this command, share, which lets you share ports and set public and set private and etc. It's probably going to ask me to do some of these things now. And yeah, basically you can log into your box and say share port 8000 and make it public, and then it's publicly accessible to your name. So here it would be doc.pelican.exe.hyz, which I find really cool and really useful. And I think 20 VPCs, or 20 VMs for just $20 a month is really good. Now, it doesn't have a lot of vCPU or RAM, but I think it's a pretty decent thing to use. I'm probably going to pay for this and host. I could host my calculator here. I have this calculator on 2-minute streaming Apache Kafka calculator that I'm currently hosting on an EC2. And while the first year of AWS was free, the trial, I think now it's probably costing me around $20 a month. So I think all this can be free. I do have to develop this a little bit more, by the way. I've kind of left it in the state that I left it when I first released it. It's still version 101. But yeah, so let's see where we're at. It's editing some stuff here, I guess. Excellent. Everything is up. Just the Kafka UI is still warming up. Now, I wonder why I chose Kafka UI. There's 1,000 Kafka UI services nowadays, so I guess it's hard for the AI to choose as well. So it's creating a sample topic now and producing some stuff, blah, blah, blah. End-to-end works, so it confirmed it works. We're at minute 10. So I'm going to try to get this under 15 minutes so I can upload to LinkedIn. Our little Doc Pelican. I love dogs, by the way, so this is a great name that it picked. It always picks some cool names. I haven't explored this too much. We can see some usage from Shelley, their AI. It used $1 of Claude, so it's using the API. I think I can see my usage here. And they're giving me $20 worth of allowance of Claude as well for a trial account for 7 days, which is super awesome. This is so generous. And it's cool because it lets me demo it so nicely. What else do we have? What else? We have a lobby. I guess this is the same SSH as here. So I can run the same stuff. And yeah, running AOS shows me all the VMs I have. And then I guess there's a way to shell into them. I don't know. I mean, you can learn this platform. It's not difficult. But let's see where we're at. Come on. Don't be so slow. Again, at 11 minutes, it's almost ready. We've gotten it seems like it's hitting some errors with Grafana, but we've gotten so spoiled as developers. Nowadays I'm expecting this thing to be running and in a publicly accessible way with me doing no work. I'm here just trying to fill the time to keep you entertained so you don't click off the video. But in the real world, I will just send the prompt. Reminder, I only send one prompt here, which was this one. I'll just send the prompt and open Slack or open X or open LinkedIn or do some other work, maybe review a PR on GitHub, etc. And I would come back in an hour, realistically, or even more. But yeah, we've gotten spoiled as devs. We want everything to come instantly with no work. Like, I'm so surprised by how little work it takes me to achieve the same amount of stuff I did. When I recently wrote a leaderless log implementation, let me see if I can find it. Python. When I did this, I was using AI for the whole thing. I basically built like I built a Kafka clone, kind of, without the API, in Python, using Stream Native's leaderless log thing. And I've never read the code here. I don't think I ever read the code. I was just chatting with the AI. I sent it the leaderless log protocol that Stream Native had open sourced, which is just basically just a bunch of markdown files, basically this file. And I was testing it. It was spinning up Grafanas. It was writing documentation. Now I did read the documentation. It took a lot of time to get right, of course. But again, like, no code was written to make this work. And the thing was working. I got it up to 100 megabytes a second on just an EC2, on a single EC2. It was using Oxia as a metadata layer and etc. And anyway, I'm just trying to say it's crazy how much we can do. Back in the day, this would take a full month's work, honestly. Not only coding, but also the performance test. Here I had a lot of iterations of the performance test. I would run a test, see where it failed. Oh, it was a test issue. Okay, fix the test. Run again. Oh, I didn't have enough partitions, so I had too many partitions. Okay, lower that. Then I would find the bug that caused the latency to go up. Then I would fix something else, etc. And whatever. So now this is 10 times faster. Anyway, let's go. Continuing. Look at this. The stack is live. So this is it. In under 15 minutes, we got running in 13 minutes and 40. And now we're just going to explore together. So let's see what's running. Let's explore this. Stack is live. Everything is managed by Docker Compose, yada yada. It shows us the architecture. Let's see what this is. Let's see if it opens. Cool. So we have a Kafka stack. It even created a homepage for me. I have Kafka UI, which is the homepage. Let's open the UI. Yeah, it works. There's the Kafbat. It's the latest Kafka version, and it is running. We have 3 brokers with some disk usage. We have some leaders on them, some replicas, 54 partitions. We have the internal topics and a demo topic, to which I could probably produce through the UI. I know I use this UI. Test me now, please. Keep contents. Yeah, whatever. Seems like the message was sent. So I think it's working. So anyway, we have a UI working, which is awesome. I'm not sure. Did we get a schema registry created? I'm not sure. We have Grafana running as well, which blew my mind when I first saw this. So let's see this thing here. Boom. I mean, it's a pretty small Grafana, barely has anything, but bytes in, messages in, partition count. I'm sure we can probably download some nicer Grafana dashboard. Continuing, we have Prometheus. We have, okay, so we do have a schema registry. That's awesome. And we have the REST proxy. And here's giving me an example of how to use it. Now, I'm not sure how I should, I guess I got the wrong HTTP API here, because I'm not sure what my clusters are, but I would have liked it if it told me exactly what to send. But let's see. So it gives me these commands to make it public. And by the way, I don't even need to be logged in here, so I can be on my computer. And I would say exe.dev, share the port, which should make the port public, and then set public again this exe.dev thing. It should make the HTTP API public, which I thought it was, but I think it's not. Now it is. So we can test it now. If we open a new incognito window and we open this, it should work. On my other window, I think it was using my logged in credentials. So yeah, there we go, it works. Okay, what else do we have? They give me some stuff. Okay, yeah, here's a curl request. So copy the curl request, send, and boom, it worked. Oops, sorry. And this is how we need to get a working Kafka. In under 15 minutes, we got it working, and then we just tested it. And this is just crazy, guys. This is crazy. I can't even imagine what this is going to look like in a year or two. We can do so much more on top of this. We can share some, even like simple stuff like the Kafka dashboard. Like, there's no reason this couldn't be a production-ready dashboard right now. You just have to know where to pull it from some GitHub repo. This can go a lot further. We can hook AI agents that read the logs and the metrics and react in real time and manage the cluster for us. There's no reason why self-managing Kafka should be difficult in an age of AI, where I can just spin this up with absolutely, there's no managed service here. It's just a bare VM. I'm just running Claude in a bare VM. That's all I'm doing. This just gives me a nicer interface for it. It is awesome. Welcome to the 21st century, I guess. Thanks for watching.